Hello and welcome to another edition of the Dinosaur News Center. We bring you the latest in research, discoveries, and other news relating to the world of dinosaurs. I'm your host, the Illiterate Scholar. Today, I'm reviewing the newest Walking With Dinosaurs. This is not what I thought my first full-length video would be about after so long, but here we are. When the original Walking With Dinosaurs came out, there was nothing else like it. It was revolutionary and inspired countless other documentaries about dinosaurs and other prehistoric animals. It's now 2025, and the bar has been raised by Prehistoric Planet. I'll do my best not to compare the two shows, but some comparisons will be used to help get my point across. The newest Walking With Dinosaurs follows the format of the original show. Sort of. You get 6 episodes, each with a different theme. Each episode is roughly 50 minutes instead of 25. In the original, it starts at the Triassic and ends at the Cretaceous. This new series is all Cretaceous, with 1 episode in the Jurassic. Presumably, this is to save budget and eliminate the need to render more exotic prehistoric plants. Whereas the original Walking With Dinosaurs held the Guinness World Records for the most expensive TV show at the time, this new one is clearly more budget constrained. The limited budget also means less animal variety in each episode. Each episode has maybe 4 unique species at most. Overall, the CGI is very well done, but I think people judged it too harshly based on trailers and early screenshots. Make no mistake, there are bad shots in the show, but the good shots outweigh the bad shots by a lot. The creatures blend realistically into the environment. Their skin shaders are good, but could have been even better. The close-up shot of the eye is extremely detailed, but the shot is reused in a lot of episodes, even if it's blatantly obvious the close-up shot doesn't match the animal it's supposedly showing. It gets weirder. In the 4th episode, we get 2 brand new close-up eye models, one for the Rhinoceratops and another for the Albertosaurus, just for this episode. So the Albertosaurus gets its own amazingly rendered eye close-up. Then, later in the same episode, there's another Albertosaurus eye close-up, and it's reusing the generic eye footage again. Why? You have this beautifully rendered shot already made. Why are you going back to this for the same animal? The biggest one is reusing the Albertosaurus model as Gorgosaurus in another episode. Okay, it is egregious, but also not a big deal scientifically since Gorgosaurus was lumped into Albertosaurus for a bit until they were separated again on a genus level. The CGI models themselves are fantastic. You can argue about how much integument might be on the T-Rex, or whether a lucid titan can really inflate their head like that, but all of them are lovingly sculpted and textured with a high degree of accuracy. This is where the show easily surpasses the original. The original show had tons of errors and one of the worst looking T-Rex models out there. Besides the close-up eye shots, the other thing I noticed about this series is their love for close-up shots of feet stepping on the ground. These are all unique models. Unlike the eye shots, they are rendered with incredible detail and step very convincingly on the ground. When it comes to animation, there is a good sense of weight and speed to the movement. I always love the little details they add to the movement, such as rocks being kicked up from running, which adds realism to the on-screen action and makes me ask whether the rocks are live action or CG. Some of the animation lacks polish, but my biggest criticism stems from scenes where the animal's animation looks more anthropomorphic and feels more like a cartoon than a photorealistic animal. It would also have been great to see more elaborate hunting scenes with packs of hunters working together. Instead, you have a big pack, but you only see 2 animals doing the hunting while the rest of the pack goes missing. Imagine the animation for a pack of predators working together to bring down prey. This would require good directing and writing. And boy, did they mess up the writing and directing of this series. Somebody decided to change the format of this series by inserting segments of paleontologists doing fieldwork every few minutes, completely killing the momentum and flow of the story. You know how I said each episode is around 50 minutes long? Roughly half of the episode is taken up by cutaway to scenes with paleontologists. I love learning about the latest discoveries from paleontologists. This show managed to make these scenes incredibly boring. A lot of the time, they just show fieldwork without much dialogue, and what dialogue that's there is incredibly awkward.
She must have only been about 3 years old?
Which means she was just a baby.
I know, they're paleontologists, not trained actors, so it's not their fault. The scenes are just them talking amongst themselves, telling each other incredibly basic facts. Wow, you interrupted the story so Nizad Ibrahim can tell us Spinosaurus has a sail? Any idiot with a YouTube channel could have told you that. The absolute worst offender is when a scene has some tension build up, then screeches to a halt so the paleontologist can foreshadow what happens next. Who thought this was a good idea? Just let the dinosaur segment run uninterrupted, then have a paleontologist talk about the science behind the episode at the end, similar to season 2 of Prehistoric Planet. Or look at Planet Dinosaur. This series has facts sprinkled throughout the episodes, but the facts are presented at a rapid pace without killing the pacing of the show too much. The facts they provided were interesting too. Maybe whoever decided to do this was a huge fan of Planet Dinosaur and thought they could do better with Walking with Dinosaurs 2025. That's the only way I can rationalize this bizarre choice. If you remove the paleontologists, most of the episodes would be much better. My favorite episode is the second episode with the Spinosaurus. The story is well told. By the way, when I say the story, I'm pretending like the paleontologist segments didn't exist and just rate the dinosaur segments. The episode flows well and follows the story of a Spinosaurus protecting its young. The scene in the dark forest with the Elanqua stalking its prey is excellent. The way it blends into the darkness, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike, has good tension. I wish all the predator ambush scenes were like this. And something about the rendering of the Carcharodontosaurus with its bloody jaws hits just right and looks so good. The dumbest scene is the Spinosaurus waiting for the best spot on the shore to hunt fish when they can dive. A very close second favorite is the Albertosaurus episode. It's an underdog story about a pack of Albertosaurus. A lot of the scenes are pretty interesting, but there are a few scenes where the animation makes the animals too anthropomorphic. Also, the colors on the face reminds me of the T-Rex from Dinosaur Revolution. And holy crap, did they reuse a stock creature roar from the 90s?
In an epic battle against evil. Gargoyles.
You don't recognize it? How about now? My third favorite is the Pachyrhinosaur episode. It's another migration story, but the story focuses more on the individual moments in the journey rather than focusing purely on the journey itself, if that makes sense. What brings it down is the ending. You know the old saying, show, don't tell? They told and didn't show. It would have added to the emotional impact if we could see how it ended. No doubt the result of a lower budget, since it would have required some heavy-duty CG power and animation for the ending. My number 4 pick is the Lucititan episode. Not bad. I'm actually surprised how much I like it despite it having the least amount of animals. I'm biased, I just love big sauropods. Outside of the interruptions and narration, the story is a bit predictable. This episode does bring up a very interesting idea. Coming in at number 5, this is one of the stinkers. It's about a small herd of young Gastonia surviving together against a pack of Utah raptors. There's very little variety to this episode. They just constantly run into the same pack of Utah raptors and the formula gets old. Also, I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but the very last shot of the Gastonia is very theatrical and silly. And the worst episode is the first episode about a baby Triceratops surviving by itself. Similar to the previous episode, the T-Rex appears again and again, giving the episode very little variety. The overall story feels disjointed too. Sometimes things happen for no reason. The baby would join a herd, then suddenly leave the herd and be on its own again. The baby Triceratops skin rendering also looks weird under certain lighting conditions. That's my ranking of the 6 episodes. Again, my ratings are based on the episodes with the paleontologist segments removed, because the dinosaur segments aren't that bad. There are some good emotional moments that are well done. It's a combination of bad writing and killing the flow that hurts the most. None of the paleontologists is responsible for how it turned out. It's their hard work that made this show possible. Whether it's the ones you see on the field or the consultants in the credits, we're seeing their knowledge on display. Cause in terms of scientific accuracy, the show is pretty good. A lot of what you see is based on the latest understanding of dinosaurs. What guesswork they use seems fairly reasonable. Now, you can argue whether Albertosaurus or Utah raptors lived in packs, or whether Lucititan can inflate its head like that, but all of them are at least plausible or based on real science. Some things are debatable. The diving Spinosaurus, for example, is based on real research by Nizar Ibrahim. However, many paleontologists disagree on Spinosaurus being able to dive and hunt prey underwater. I'm on the camp that disagrees, but it's still real science. It's not like he's saying Spinosaurus can shoot lasers out of its ass. They played it safe for the most part. I'm all for accuracy, but what I'm against is anti-science. But I'm not against speculation that would turn heads, but still make paleontologists say, yeah, that might be possible. The Lucititan eats bones to heal, and their air sacs are examples of what I'm thinking of. I wish we got to see newer discoveries, such as pterosaurs having soft-shelled eggs, or Utah raptors using the sickle claw to hold and pin down prey instead of slashing. But in all honesty, my criticism is more nitpicky than anything. Scientific accuracy is not the show's biggest problem. Not even close. The internet consensus is that this new show is a horrible failure. I do understand their frustration, and I agree with many of their complaints. The first episode, being the worst episode, didn't help. What I find odd is that some people say it would be good if it weren't called Walking With Dinosaurs. I disagree. A name is just a name and has nothing to do with the quality of the show. They could have called it Paleontologists and Dinosaurs, and it still wouldn't make the pacing any better. Let's not pretend the Walking With Dinosaurs name hasn't been tarnished by bad executive decisions already. Does anyone still remember this?
Wait a minute, are you really gonna eat that?
You know it.
Yeah, I thought so. The real problem probably came down to some executive who thought killing the pacing of the show was a good idea. I was really hoping to rave about how it's awesome and amazing, but instead, all I can say is, it's decent. The show had a lot of the ingredients, and if it had more polish, it could have been great. But thanks to executive meddling, a potentially good show is now just decent. Many of us were hoping for something great, but had to settle for something decent. That's still disappointing. But if you want a real stinker, check out Dinosaurs with Stephen Fry. Oh, we'll get to that someday. Until next time, this is the Illiterate Scholar bringing you the latest news 66 million years late.